Thank you very much. Welcome everyone to our Heritage Board meeting for Tuesday, October 19th. Call the meeting to order. Declarations of conflict. I see none. Approval of the agenda. So I'll need a mover and a seconder for that. Move right there, seconded by. Okay. All those in favor? Thank you. Adoption of the minutes for September 27th, 2021. I'll need a mover and a second for those, and then we can talk about any business arising. So I'll move again here, and seconded by Mayor Brown. Any business from those minutes, folks? You can take a minute to look before you, if not. No. Okay, if not, we'll move on to our reports. 6A is 199 Queen Street.
So City Hall, 199 Queen Street, it's in the downtown Main Street zone in the 500 lot area. It's a designated heritage resource as well as being a National Historic Site. The main portion of the building dates to 1888, and then there was an extension along Queen Street in 1916. So this application we deferred from the September meeting. It was an application to replace the roofing, which is failing. It's to replace 2 dormer windows with doors to access the flat roof on the walls. One's on the west and one is on the north. They're not seen from the ground. And they'll replace the walls of the dormer. They'll be reclad with a wood cladding and general repairs done.
Should be in shape.
We know that the building originally had a slate roof, which was changed somewhere between 1965 and 1975 to asphalt. We know that when it was designated, it wasn't designated as a heritage resource until 1981, which came after the asphalt roof and became a National Historic Site in 1988 when extensive renovations were done at that point. So the proposed roof involves a product for the mansard roof and the dormers, as well as the tower roof, which is a composite material that's intended to emulate slate. It's made by Bylaw slate. And since our last meeting, the architect has provided a comparison between natural slate and the composite product. There's various differences are noted, but they include an increase in cost for the slate, as well as the potential need for a structural assessment, which could take additional time, and time is of the essence. The roof is currently leaking. So I do have some images of slate roofs around town. This one is St. Paul's, and it shows the sort of patterned color slate, which this product did have a color pattern that would emulate that. And you can see on the right how some of the slate discolors over time. Hearts O'Halloran has slate on both the front and the back side. Union Bank on the corner of Great George and Richmond is slate. St. Dunstan's Place, the old Bishop's Palace, and St. Dunstan's Basilica are both slate. St. Dunstan's Basilica is also a National Historic Site. So going through the heritage bylaw, the bylaw requires the board to consider the original or the existing materials. The zoning bylaw states that the appearance of building materials shall be true to their nature and should not mimic other materials. The Standards for Conservation of Historic Places in Canada recommends repairing or replacing materials to match the original as closely as possible, both visually and physically. And the replacement with the composite material, in my opinion, doesn't appear to adhere to those standards, so I've recommended that we reject the proposal for the Enviro slate, but approve the other alterations.
Okay. Thank you very much, Todd. Any questions at this point? Tara, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to move that we accept slate as the roofing material. I think that this is a designated heritage building. I think the city is promoting heritage. I don't think we can nickel dime on this building move to a composite material. I think we should stay true to the original fabric.
Go ahead, Alex.
I don't mean to interfere with the discussion, but Stephen is here today. He's like the applicant? Maybe just want to hear Stephen.
But since we have a motion on the floor, I should get a seconder, and then we'll have more discussion. How's that? So is there anyone who likes to second by Wayne? Okay. Yes, so Stephen is here from Public Works. Stephen, probably get up and present.
That you like.
Sure. Well, just a comment in general. So we are kind of at a critical point. The concerns that we have with the slate is mainly around timelines. Like right now we have staff working on the 3rd floor that when it rains, they get wet. We have ceiling tiles and carpet removed. If we do go with a slate product, we'd have to go back to council for more money than we currently have budgeted. Which that's up to council to decide whether they move that forward. There is the section of the roof that is above the 3rd floor, which is not part of the composite or slate, is the most urgent part. So we can kind of move forward with that if the committee decides that they'd like to examine the slate further. There will have to be structural analysis done of the entire building. We're probably looking at $50,000 to $100,000 just to have the analysis done and the studies done before we even get. I'm just looking at engineering costs. I know what it's costing us right now just to get this conversation going and our tender written, and we're about 25 grand. So there is a significant. There is a significant cost there. I don't disagree that the historical significance of the building, that it'd be nice to bring it back to its original state.
Well, I read the newspaper and it's surplus in the city. I saw that. So.
That money's not in the bank book.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, but I think that this is one that we really should go for the gold on. So that's why I placed the motion.
I really think the building deserves it. It's a national historic site after all. It's one of the few that we can look with some pride at.
So, Stephen, any idea, so on, if we went with slate, what the timelines would be as far like the ordering, the architecture? So you're saying, how long would it be?
We wouldn't see it in the next 12 months, I wouldn't think. Finding a slate, installing slate 2 takes a special skill set. Which I'm not sure how many slate installers would be local. We'd have to probably bring them in from outside. I'd have to do a little bit more research on that. I think there's actually notes, if you give me 1 sec here. The wage.
The restoration of Prophet's House would be a source of information for that, I'm sure.
Yeah, and who's heading that up? Nicole Gallant. She's the communications contact.
So maybe just, from my clarity and hopefully everybody else, so Stephen, what are you indicating that you've got enough work to do up there that doesn't involve any of this?
Like if we can get approval to move forward with part of the roof that's the most critical, which is the flat part of the roof.
You don't need our approval to do that, really. That's maintenance.
Yeah, and then the other stuff, as long as council is willing to, personally, I'd love to see, go back to its original state, but it comes down to dollars and cents and how much we want to budget and spend on that. So that's up to you guys, I guess.
Mr. Chair, just to follow up on Tara's point. So when City Hall or City Council back in 86 or 85 made the decision to renovate, restore City Hall in celebration of its 100th anniversary, Tom McMillan was the Minister of Environment at the time, and I think it was a $2.5 million restoration of this building. And the original building stops at those wooden doors in celebration of the 100th anniversary. So I agree with Tara. We need to put it back to its original state, and that includes slate roof.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns, folks? Are we ready? Want to vote on it, or is there anyone else want to speak their mind on it? Yeah. But if we do go forward with slate, it'll probably be.
Well, it's definitely it can't happen this fiscal year based on the budget that we have.
It'll be a year right anyway, probably before we.
Yeah, And the only other concern I have is that if we have, because I know the area concern on the third floor, there's also, you know, here with the stairway as you walk up, there's pieces of the wall falling off because of the moisture that's behind it. So there are some critical areas that can't wait. But I think that there's probably a happy balance where if we know that we're moving in the slate direction, that maybe some of those structural stuff can be addressed and
Yeah, I would say for
satisfy
sure.
both.
Okay?
That is one of the beauties of the asphalt shingles that are there, I guess, is that if you need to do some patchwork or some repair work to obviously make sure that there's no further deterioration, not a huge cost to patch those places where it's on the asphalt shingles, but you're saying most of the leakage is coming at the low roof?
Yeah, so the flat roof is where we're having, and it's beyond, it's patched up there. I don't know if you guys got the chance to see some of the photos that,
Yeah.
I mean, it's in rough shape in terms of like how many patches, and the patches are only moving the water around to different areas, so, you know, we're patching here, there's no leak in this corner now, but
Now there is.
right? So we're just kind of chasing water around up there, so.
Yeah, no, I mean, the low roof, I think is, absolutely, go ahead
Yeah,
and do it. Yeah.
totally.
Do what you gotta do to make
And
it.
that's not obvious, or you can't see that. from-
Yeah,
which is-
basically we'll do all the parts you can't
Flat
see.
membrane type.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you can't see.
We do gotta secure it, that's for sure, and then look at the other
Construction
structure.
period too, well.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good, so we have a motion on the floor.
Question.
Question called.
Didn't we not say at the last meeting we were gonna get a price on what the cost comparison was gonna be?
So we did get a comparison,
Oh,
which is
okay.
in the package, and it just gives a cost per square foot, not
That's
including
just the
installation,
material.
and there's other costs
Okay.
involved, but
The installation cost of slate versus a normal asphalt shingle is significantly higher.
Oh, yeah.
actually, I spoke to Joachim of MBS Masonry, and he said he gave a price to do Trinity Church in 5 years ago, of $400,000 to do it in slate, and instead they went for asphalt, and it cost them $200,000.
It's basically double. Okay,
And we would be looking at the same thought, because that roof down Trinity Church one
Yeah.
big
I
roof.
think he also said the Bishop's Palace was, and I think it was 2009, it was 200,000 or 235, something like that at the time.
So just so I'm clear, like the dormers and stuff that we see where if they are connected to those roof, when we go to tear up are we okay with bringing that back to the original? There's no slate involved in some of those, I don't believe.
We thought the dormers had slate as well. And if you need to patch them with asphalt in the inch,
Yeah,
but it's my understanding that the dormers had slate as well as the mansard roof, as well as the pyramid roof on the tower.
Can you go back to those historic photos, Todd?
Yeah.
Visible or not there?
Yes, it's
Yeah,
on the
it
back,
looks
on the back side.
I think you would want them to be slate, I would think.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think it's not like they would have been wood shingle. we don't-
But in the meantime, we gotta do what we gotta do, right?
Right, so I'm just looking for some direction.
Yeah.
In terms of like, if we're prepared to pay for asphalt temporarily.
Right,
And then change it to slate once we get the structural stuff in place.
yes, yeah,
Okay.
perfect. Okay, so, question's been called. All those in favor of the motion, put your hand up, please. And we have a unanimous decision. So, we would be going with Todd's recommendation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen, very much for taking your time to come in.
Jake
Thank you.
didn't think we need any structural changes.
It's been a lot of time, and Stephen's
We can
back,
talk
going
about
back and
that.
forth. trying to
I'm
get-
just concerned about the
Yeah.
tower. If you look at
But,
the tower,
Yeah.
there are some concerns that we'd have to get someone else's done.
Okay, 300 Hertz Road.
Okay, cool, thanks you.
Todd, are you taking Hertz Road?
You bet.
You got her, thank you.
300 Hertz Road. Where is this? So, this is St. Peter's Road out here. This is the arterial highway around here. So it's all the roundabouts out here. The, what's it called? Lucy Maud School is up here.
Williams Road.
And this is Hillsborough River down here. We are looking at this property. It's sort of in the middle of a field. There's more subdivision up at this end. Historically, it's Binstead. The house itself dates to 1833. They did some renovation work to the property, I think 2009. You can see the river in the background here. So this application is for approval of 21 solar panels. They've already been installed, we've learned. They didn't realize they needed a permit. So they're mounted on a metal frame that's 8 feet high, 10 feet deep, and it has an overall length of 24 feet. So the river is down here. The red line marks their property, which is in a bigger field. The house is here, and I put a little pink flag where the solar panels have gone, in the center here. So it's quite far from the house itself, so I'm saying it has zero impact on the building itself, and I think it has minimal to no impact on the site as well, so I'm recommending it get approved, and it enhances our sustainability policies.
Okay, any questions for Todd? Tara, go ahead.
I have to tell a story, but this is.
You know the house?
Yeah, I
been
do
down
know
to
the
it.
house. This house is quite a history. If you go back, it was claimed to have been haunted in the 1850s. There was the Duchess of Westmoreland did an article in the New York, or the London Times on this house, and Dr. McDonald at the Beaconsfield wrote an article in one of the Islander magazines on it. But I did a little bit of work here for a lady who bought it. She was from Kensington. She was putting her son in there. They're going to run a B&B, and this would be in about 98 or so. And so we renovated. The young couple moved in, and they had a small child. They were in there about 4 months, and they woke up in the middle of the night. The baby was crying, and they ran into the room. And there was the temperature in the room was like 30 degrees colder than the rest of the house. The baby was standing up in its crib screaming, and there was this shape apparition in the corner of the room, and they could make out the shape of a woman reaching for the baby. And they grabbed the baby, they bolted, they went straight out the door, they refused to absolutely go back. She had to sell the house. This is a true story.
Wow.
And anyway, when they went back and started, actually I went back and did a little bit of digging on the history of it, and apparently whoever built that house, and Todd, you have that information, either the first or second owner was a bachelor. He hired 2 young girls off the farm to help keep the house, and often a local farm to keep the house one night. Anyway, got them both pregnant. One girl disappeared. Nobody ever knew where she went. And then I don't know what happened to the second girl and the baby, but it's suggested that the ghost is this girl who was murdered, died, whatever, looking for her baby.
Halloween's not till next week.
What's that?
Halloween's not until next
I
week.
know. No, this is a true story, and they never came back, and the mother, who was the mother of the son, who was the chef, had to sell the house, because she had bought it to set them up and she then.
I would make a suggestion, the manager of planning go and inspect that one.
Who's that contact check? Over 31st.
No, I don't think the people there now.
Yeah, I have to say overnight too.
Any apparatus. Anyway, I will make a motion for approval of the solar panels.
Thank you very much for that. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second.
Seconded by Alana.
Have you been down to it?
No, I'm gonna have to take a drive down
It's
now.
a beautiful.
Yeah.
The last
I'll
time
take
I
that,
was
yeah.
down, I was knocking on doors, 210, was a veterinarian that lived down there.
That's-
It's a beautiful,
And
beautiful
right
piece of
on the
property.
river.
Well, John, the Heritage Board was in
Wow.
an application for this before at one point.
Yes, in 2009, I think they did the renovations, yeah,
Yes.
and it certainly came here then.
So, question's been called, all those in favor?
I have a question, just to
Okay.
future reference when we're getting into solar stuff,
Yeah.
in a place where maybe they don't have as much real estate to work with.
Yeah.
What is our sort of policy on this sort of thing?
Yeah, so right now, we're treating them as an accessory, because when it's detached like that, we're considering it an accessory structure.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
that's what he told me.
And we are looking at developing more policies around it, because it is becoming a bigger issue.
Yeah, like what about roof mount
Exactly.
on heritage
Yeah.
structures?
Yeah.
So right now, we'd view those as an alteration to a heritage structure, and we would bring it here. But it'd be
That's a
nice to
good-
have a little bit
good-
more
good
robust.
point.
So is it something we're gonna have to think about it being sympathetically placed? You know, if it's gonna throw off the facade on the front, then
Yeah.
maybe we're not gonna go that route, or
If the
that's
south-
yet to be determined.
If south facing is on the back.
Yeah.
Not visible from the street or.
Right. Yeah.
It's like putting solar panels on the city hall, because we do have a flat roof and it would be an energy grabber, but we don't have no policies, we don't. So we're gonna have
Well,
to
it's-
prepare for that.
You might as well wrap that into your structural analysis too.
Mm.
See if you
Yeah.
can-
Todd and I
Yeah,
discuss
good-
these
good
things
call.
quite a bit. We've got pressure colliding
Yeah.
between sustainability,
Absolutely.
which is Ramona, not just her group, meaning keep energy in buildings, be as efficient as possible, take advantage of, but then, we have the standard heritage requirements, and it's where somebody wants to put mounts of infrastructure on the building. It may not even be a flat roof, it could be a slope roof with the right angles to the sun, and, whether we can live with that or not. So we do discuss these things because we know that it's, these forces are getting more pronounced in regard to, in the future, there may be a tax on people if your building isn't a certain energy efficiency, which is somewhat to the detriment of the original building materials in homes, so.
We're not the only municipality
Right.
dealing with it.
No,
either.
there's gotta be lots of
Yeah.
other
Right. Alex,
guidelines.
keep
yeah.
those EV chargers and won't use.
It would be a significant cost for that owner to put, to bury it that far away as well. It is that.
Yeah. Even just the racks are costing
Yeah.
20 grand for the rack. alone.
Yeah, oh yeah, it would be an expensive adventure for sure.
Probably an expensive house to heat too.
Yeah, that's a good scheme.
One room in particular.
Yeah, upstairs bedroom on the
Where the
left.
babies
You really don't need lights. I don't think anybody will go in it at night. Okay, thank you, everyone. Introduction of new business.
We vote on it. We vote on it?
Yeah, to be,
Okay.
well, you were sleeping during that one, Mr. Wood. Okay, introduction of new business. I see none. I need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor McCabe, seconded by, there we go. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, Alex has a
Well, I just-
question.
if you didn't grab your lunch on the way in.
I did.
But there's pizzas in there, on the front of the box, it says what type they are, you don't have to open them. But by all means, grab one on your way out if you missed it on the way in.
Don't trust Alana and Julie with your food. I can tell you a story about